Disagreements between China and the United States over the South China Sea have been clouding relations between the two countries, but they've been presenting a more united front against the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Brendan Mulvaney is the director of the China Aerospace Studies Institute, and I asked him about a new agreement to increase communications between the two militaries.
It's certainly about that, but it is much more, like you said. I think General Dunford pointed out that he wants it to be more 24/7, 365 as a way of communication. So it's a step above a red line. Red line is really like, wow, we are about to have a serious crisis. I need to call and talk to someone. I think this is going to be a little more robust, a little more ongoing, so we can have a constant dialogue. And hopefully we'll be able to use that mechanism to signal some things that would be under what you would use the red line for. A hotline, sorry, not a red line, but a hotline. Because when you use the hotline, it really means, hey, this is something really serious. So hopefully this dialogue and the follow-on mechanisms that kind of hopefully grow out of it will allow for some more constant communication, which I think would be better overall, so we can kind of see things as they build up as opposed to getting shocked by them.
So what are some examples where this new mechanism would be used?
So I think certainly anything on the Korean Peninsula, obviously that's been a hot topic here recently, would certainly merit that, depending on the level of rhetoric, the movement of troops and exercises and things like that, just to keep the Chinese informed of what exactly we're doing so that there's no surprises. We typically tell the American public that exercises are going on. We're not going to broadcast the exact location of ships, but certainly, hey, these ships are going to be in this area. This is why they're going to be there. So just kind of informing the Chinese so that they know ahead of time what's going to go on. And then you can see it expanded, things in the South China Sea, East China Sea, on any of the borders. And also it can go the other way. You know, China has had some border issues here recently with India and Bhutan. They can certainly tell back the United States that, hey, this is what's going on. We're trying to keep a handle on it. There's been some incidents of rock throwing, which oddly enough is kind of good, because that means that none of the soldiers on any side want to use their weapons. They all have weapons, and nobody's used it yet. And so this is a way for China to reassure the United States that they're not being bellicose, and they are trying to act responsible and keep a lid on some of these tensions and manage them as best they can.
How significant is a face-to-face meeting like this?
I think they're critical, both on the American side, but also certainly on the Chinese side. It's very important to show that leaders at the highest levels are engaged in these problems, that they understand these problems, and what they almost universally convey to one another is, we do have differences, we do have some problem areas, but we have far more in common, and it is really important for us to keep the dialogue and the strategic cooperation, if you will, going forward. And so I think this is what both sides emphasize, and it's really important to be able to look somebody in the eye, be able to talk to them in person and say, yes, I understand what you're saying to me, here's what I'm saying back, and we're going to have a clear line of communication.